Yo, yo, what's happening, family? How y'all doing tonight? Well, you know your good brother, good Rob, bro Rob. I'm here this evening. I've been just doing the little final touches on the presentation. Um, every time I come to the family, I try to bring something that's gonna be edifying. Something that we can walk away with and think about and chew on you know, and for that reason, that's why I'm a little you know, hesitant. You know what I'm saying? A little slow about putting out content, and it's for a specific reason. And that reason is I have to be accountable for what I say and what I do. And so I put great thought into what I'm about to put in front of the family. And so I appreciate anybody that would take time to listen to what I have to say on this topic. I think it's quite relevant, especially with some of the conversations that have been going on YouTube the last few days and last few weeks, last few months, I would say. And I think it's because we are looking at things and we believe our truth to be the truth, you know? And so that is the reason why I put this presentation together. And I'm hoping that I can attract a few more listeners, a few more watchers. Um, I'm hoping that this presentation, one more time, that is edifying. And so, with that being said, I'm a flip over to it and I'm gonna start sharing my screen. I just wanted to, yep, we all good. Let me close that out. Yeah, and let me start sharing the screen. All right. And so once I start sharing the screen, I'm not gonna be really looking at the chat too much because I'm gonna be looking at the presentation. So if you come in, and you see what I got going on, by all means, I'm hoping that you put your comments in the chat, you put your questions in the chat, your reactions in the chat, because that gives me the evidence that I need to either make this better or to change some things, add some things. And so, here we go. The name of this presentation, as you can see, the power of propaganda, how it affects our thoughts, our emotions, and our perceptions of reality. And so, that question I pose is your vision 2020? Do you see it for what it really is? Right? And so, to qualify this statement, I got some questions that I pose real quick. Right? The first question: where do your thoughts come from? Where do your foundational thoughts come from? Your moral thoughts, your ethical thoughts, your thoughts on male and female relationships and everything like that. If they coming from talking heads, if they coming from talking points, if they coming from your favorite personality on here, that would probably be accurate, right? But it would be dangerous, right? So, to answer this question accurately, I would say our thoughts come from what we see and what we hear. Most intellects would say, it comes from my environment, it comes from my upbringing. You know, But to be wide ranging and answering that question, your thoughts come from what you see and what you hear. So if I can control your environment, if I can control what you see and what you hear, in a general sense, I can control you, you know, you know. But our thoughts come from what we see and what we hear, right? Next question. Are you taught how to think or are you taught what to think? See, you learn your thoughts come from what you see and what you hear. And when you go to school, are they teaching you how to think or what to think? You know, I deem myself very lucky, very blessed to have the father that I had. And I would say that he didn't teach me what was in the world. He taught me how to see the world. Wisdom, that's what he gave me. Discretion, that's what he gave me. And so, that's what I think about when I think about that question. But, you know, to be more very, very specific to the bill, right? If you taught what to think or how to think, you taught something. And if you are taught something, is it taught with a purpose? Are you programmed? Are you programmed for a purpose? Are you? Are you programmed? Are your thoughts your thoughts? Or are they the thoughts of someone else and now you have embodied those thoughts as your thoughts? Let's keep going. Let's go deeper. It's a book I highly recommend it. I talk about it all the time. It's called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. It's written by this gentleman. His name is Stephen Covey. And it's a quote from the book, and it says, "We tend to believe that we see reality as it is, but the truth is, we see reality how we are." I want you to really ponder what I'm trying to get you to see with this presentation. We have to continue to challenge what we believe that we think we know, you know? So, um, the thing about doing that is this: you have to have some type of foundational thought. And those foundational thoughts, I would say, have to be rooted in what we know to be true, not what we think to be true, but what we know to be true. The most obvious answer is usually the right one. And everybody knows that our people are in a sense of despair. Our communities need uh, more things than we can just offer right off of the bat. Today, we don't have microwave solutions for our people. And so this does not feel well. I would even go so far as to say that we are in a psychological war and we don't know who the enemy is. You know, I go to Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu has a quote, and ultimately, this is what he says: "The art of war is the art of war" by Sun Tzu. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Subdue the enemy without fighting, and the only way you can really do that is to convince your enemy that someone else is his enemy in a lot of ways. To convince him that he is his own worst enemy in some ways. But ultimately, you take the focus off of them. Either you build yourself up to where your enemy feels you are too great, too powerful to beat them, or you convince your enemy that someone else is their enemy. The supreme art of war. But while people are fighting, somebody walking away with the bag, fam. Like I said, the most obvious answer is usually the right one. All of this social engineering and all of these different talking points and all of these things. Like Obsidian said, he about the bag, fam. He just entertaining you long enough. If y'all notice, he just got back on here so that he can pump up his book, continue to be relevant, drop the book, his name never leave anybody. He's being very I would say clear in his intentions. But the bag is ultimately what all of this social engineering is about. Let's take it further though, right? So some people say, I ain't programmed, I ain't no monkey, I ain't no robot. Okay, all right. Nike, what's their tagline? What's their tagline? You know it, fam. You know it. Just do it. You know they tagline is just do it. You know it. Anybody that live in the Midwest, right? If you need some carpet or some hardwood floors, look, you know they number better than you know your homie number. What's Luna number? 773-202. Doot 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 doot. Luna. Exactly. Like you work there. McDonald's. McDonald's is notorious for their social engineering programs. Look, right? After you eat these fries, you're gonna love it. No, 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 no. Before you even get there, fam, you loving it already. You already love it before you take a sip of that iced tea. You love it. Social engineering is a real thing. It's a real thing. But I want to you know, play a little eye game with you, a little mind game with you, right? Cuz your mind's eye, this is your perception, your mind's eye. Now, you see this picture? The lady in this picture, is she older or is she younger to you? How old would you say this lady is? Now, the people that think it's an older lady in the picture, they would say she probably in her 60s, 70s, maybe older. I know, because the people that see the young lady, they like 60, 70. She about 18, she in her 20s, maybe younger. No older than 30, right? Because I know you looking at the picture like, man, Rob, what the hell is you talking about, right? Check it out. If you see the young lady, her head is turned to the right, right? That's her left eye. That's her left ear. Keep in mind her head is turned to the right. And this is her jawline right there. If you see the young lady. But we do have some people out there that see the older lady. And if you see the older lady, This is what you see. You see her lips, her head is down, her chin is like almost on her resting on her chest, and her head is down, and she looks sad, right? And those are her lips, you know. Those would be her eyes, and then right there, she would have somewhat of a big nose, big protruding nose. If you see the old lady, some people see the young lady, some people see the old lady. Either way it go, both people see a lady. In this sense, because it is perception, you are both correct. Both. You are both correct. Because that is a matter of perception. It is what your mind's eye see. Right? Here go perception. Perception is intuitive. It's intuitive. You appreciate the qualities of something intrinsically. You automatically look at it from a aesthetic quality. Is it pretty? Is it ugly? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Is this something that I want to see again or no? It's intuition, it's discernment. This is perception, right? This is where our perceptions come from, right? And going clockwise, starting at 6 o'clock. Your knowledge, your impression, your conception, your skills in a certain area. Collective mind. We see clear examples of this all over Black YouTube. Collective mind and the echo chamber effect. Our prejudices, our observations, our understanding, our emotions, our attitude, our individual mind, our opinions, our desires, our biases, our consciousness. This is where our perceptions are generated. This is what determines reality for you. So, um, we got to understand what's going on in society. Society at large, that we are all affected by this. And so that's why I posed the question this way, right? What do all people desire one way or another? Hint, hint. This is the primary intention behind the majority of most advertising campaigns. Sex. Why you think we talk about it why do you think some people platform every day is dedicated to talking about the opposite sex? Because we are over sexualized. It's in everything. It's in the way a woman wears her hair, the way a man, why you would spend $80 on cologne. Sex. Sex sell, fam. I want you to know that, okay? Sex sell. Let's go deeper, right? Land O'Lakes butter, right? You can see, you can see the Aboriginal lady, the indigenous lady. She's sitting there with her boobs exposed. Now this is from 1946. Y'all can see that, right? Right? And for people that didn't see the boobs exposed and everything, right? Land O'Lakes butter today. She's still holding the butter in front of her boobs. She's still holding the butter in front of her boobs. The only difference in the advertisement below, her hips a little wider, a little more protruding. Mm-hmm. Sex sells. What about Skittles? A berry explosion. Y'all see that? Sex sells. We wonder why niggas talking about pussy every day, all day. Coca-Cola with the Boy Scout. Y'all see that on that young man back? Sex. This out of Flower and Garden, y'all. You see anything wrong? Huh? Look. I know you can see it now. Sex sales. Look. Dodge, right? People said I was reaching with this one. Sex sales. People said I was reaching. You know, Coca-Cola, right? Look at the top one. You see in the ice? That's a woman right there on the top of that ice. You see at the bottom right there where it say feel the curves in the ice? That look like a child with their mouth open. It's definitely a penis. Laid by the best. Laid by the best. Y'all see that? Laid by the best. $3 off soft fleece seat sets. My bad. $16.99. That's a hell of a price, ain't it? Y'all don't see that big old penis in the middle of the room? $16.99. There it go. It's not hard to see it. Because they hadn't it in plain view. This is why society is at large over sexualized. Yeah. Yeah. Baby, look what I bought you for Christmas. Here go you a man chair right here to put in your man cave. Sex sales. It do. Huh? This is old. This is old right here. This is from the 1940s, 50s. Huh? This from overseas. I can't remember exactly. But y'all see this, right? I mean, I'm hoping that I'm making it obvious that social engineering is a real thing and that they use sex to sell us products. You know, maybe, and this is why I got the question mark here. With all of this social engineering going on, right? Maybe some of this social engineering was reactions, white reactions to perceive black progress, which born the feminist movement, you know, created a whole people, Hispanics, all kind of things, you know. What else could they use social engineering for? Man, let me see. What else could they use social engineering for? Man, what if they could use them same propaganda techniques and social engineering to make systematic racism almost seem normal? What if? What if I know a lot of people don't agree with pro-blackness. I know a lot of people don't agree with being B1 and you know, what if that thought was given to you, programmed into you? What if propaganda, right, those techniques support some systematic racism? This is my assertion, you know. So I know that people have they ideas and they got their opinions and they have their talking points and they have their research and all that. You got all of that. I understand it. I get it, right? But some things are just what they are. Water is wet, the sun shine. You know what I'm saying? How many colors do you think y'all see? How many colors would you say you see? How many colors? Some people say 8, some people say 64, some people say 4, some people say 12. There are 1 million pixels that hold a different color that you're looking at. That is not a matter of perception. That is what it is. And so sometimes uh, I would say to the listener audience, to people who are on a path to, they trying to better themselves. They trying to sharpen a perception. They trying to have the right things to say for certain situations, and they want to be on the right side of history. You have to exercise some humility, because just like you probably thought it was 128 colors, and then you find out it's a million. Understand that humility is a form of intelligence. The smartest people in the world realize what they don't know. Let's keep going. Like I said, social engineering is a real thing. Yeah, now y'all see it, and you can go and get your Bible. I ain't trying to beat up on Christians or the Bible or anything. I'm just clearly pointing out to you that systematic racism, whether it's class, skin color, slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. A lot of people, a lot of academics say um, that religion is propaganda. And so that's the only reason that example was in there. Again, I'm not beating up on Christians or anybody for that matter. This is another talking point, that nobody is born a racist. I mean, it's a heartwarming picture, isn't it? It tugs at your emotions. Your emotions associate that with thoughts. And so those thoughts control the way that you perceive things, right? Nobody is born a racist. Okay. What about the doll test, y'all? What about the doll test? What about the inferiority complex that's in our children? The elephant in the room. See, if you want to, now I'm just plugging the video. Um, It's called Crooked Trees. You can go back and take a look at it on my channel. It's called Crooked Trees. Some of the people that be out here talking on YouTube, that's what they doing, y'all. They talking. They crooked trees. We not gonna get them to see the obvious, the elephant in the room. They'll rather look at something else besides the obvious. Nobody is born a racist. That's why I call it a talking point. Because the dog tests prove otherwise. It's an African proverb and it says, until the story of the hunt is told by the lion, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. This is old world logic. This is old world wisdom. It's a reason why the saying is old. Because it's true. It has stood up the test of time. What if systematic racism? What if it is a program that we have already accepted and now we have to unlearn it? What if that's the case? Because we know that we had people that acquiesced to the system. They was mad at Dr. King. Man, stirring up all these good white folks, asking for civil rights, ain't nothing wrong. Just need to go back to your church and preach. This is what black folks was saying about Dr. King. What you think white folks was saying about Dr. King? This Negro just around here stirring up things as well and fine and good like how they is. Yes, he was hated by both sides. We need to guard what we believe about what we say about each other. Propaganda. Propaganda is a tool that is used to control your perception. Propaganda is information, especially of a biased or misleading nature. It's used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. That is what propaganda is. This is comes out of the Freedmen's Bureau paper. As y'all can clearly see the headline, the Freedmen's Bureau, they was railing against the Freedmen's Bureau in the South. The Freedmen's Bureau, as they control the narrative, it's an agency to keep the Negro in idleness at the expense of the white man. Twice vetoed by the president, who was Johnson at the time, and made a law by Congress. If you support Congress, it don't say that, it just says support Congress. But this is what the inference is. If you support Congress, you support the Negro. Sustain the president and you protect the white man. Look at the imagery. Look at the imagery. It's funny how those talking points that's expressed in this political cartoon are still used today, ain't it? How brothers are just lazy. Hmm? Ain't that ironic? At the expense of the white man, ain't that ironic? The two platforms. The Democratic platform is for the white man. The Republican platform is for the Negro. Look at how both of these men are depicted. Is that art imitating life, or is it life imitating art? Or is it the intrinsic bias of the artist that is produced in front of your eyes? Propaganda is a weapon, y'all. There's some other propaganda that was used. I think this comes out of a newspaper in 1875, I believe. Right? But as you can see in the middle, here's the Negro. He's happy, tearing the country apart, the North and the South. Now, the North, they won the war, and the South, they utterly destroyed. And in the middle, the Negro, he gonna profit one way or another. He got out of slavery, and he about to be able to compete with the white man. This is what gave the justification for the black codes, and then on into its continuation, Jim Crow laws, which fuel those people that was out there fighting. They was fighting to get from under systematic racism. This is how those black men that were elected to Congress during Reconstruction, this is how they were depicted. This is a political cartoon. Please take a look at the imagery. And in the middle, you see the white man, the covering his head, oh Lord. And then you see Negroes arguing. And then you see your northern Republican standing back with his hands up like, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with it. This is the propaganda that they used in following Reconstruction. In no significant numbers were blacks um, part of the political process until the 60s and 70s. How many black folks are in Congress now? That's a phenomenon. But this is the propaganda that was used. It was very effective propaganda. Very effective. Very effective. Now, this comes out of the Harvard College Library. And so a lot of times, when people say propaganda, propaganda, you know, you can't really quantify it. You can't really, you know, make heads or tails of it. Look, I'm about to break this one down for you, okay? I'm gonna point everything out to you. I said, look at the imagery in the last images. In this one, I'm about to point the imagery out for you, right? And so I want you to take a real good look at the picture. The first thing I'm gonna point out is a black school. It's set aflame, and a lynch body is hanging from the lamp post in front of the school, and it's in the back. Now, you might can't make out the school, but you can definitely make out the smoke that's above the school. I had to blow the picture up so it's kind of pixelated a little bit. But that's the first thing. You got the schools, they on fire. Lynch, and the lynch body is hanging from the light pole. Next, I want to point out is the gentleman on the right. The gentleman on the right, right? He is a generic Irish, from the 5 Points gang of New York, right? Any of y'all ever seen? So that little banner on the hat, it say 5 points. right? And then if you see the club that he holding, the club is say a vote, right? So you can see clearly, I done only pointed out three things. They transmitting a lot of information in this political cartoon. Let me keep going. The gentleman in the middle, that's Nathan B. Forrest, y'all. Now on the dagger, y'all can see the letters. The letters say the lost cause. And this is what the South united under, right? That's what they united under. Nathan Forrest would go along and end up founding the Ku Klux Klan. Um, Taz, he did a great job on bringing out the information on Nathan Forrest, right? Now, they go to dagger, like I said, it say the lost cause. The guy with the suit on, that's August Belmont. You know, it's a Belmont here in Chicago. I bet y'all got a Belmont Street in y'all city. I bet y'all do. You can look it up. It's named after him, right? But Belmont, he represented Northern Capital and especially Wall Street. See, that's what he holding. He holding the bag. That's what he holding. And he was focused on rebuilding the country. If you notice, all of them together now, all of them together. The Irish in New York, the Southerner, and the Wall Street guy, they together. They all together got their foot on the back of the black man, right? And just out of that black man reach, they denying him the right to vote, even though it's in the Constitution. And this would last for another almost 90 years. 90 years. The sentiment that you see in this political cartoon, right? So I want to take this time. You know, I'm not a Muslim, but I respect the minister. I respect the Nation of Islam. And I accept the wisdom that the elder was trying to tell us here. And he says right here, he who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes the circumference of your activities. He who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes the circumference of your activities. And so, if you have a limited view or one sided view, of course, you're not going to be able to see the other side of the argument because you don't have any empathy. You're not looking for wisdom, you're looking for the bag. And any guy that y'all hear say, I'm just after the bag, and you still following them, look, man, you justify what that guy in the dark colored jacket said about black folks. That's Ronald Reagan, y'all. The other guy with the funny looking nose, that's Tricky Dick. That's Richard Nixon. They had a conversation on the phone. It's highly documented. Both of these men were racist. Ronald Reagan called black folks monkeys on that phone call. Richard Nixon was no no friend to black folks. So Ronald Reagan felt comfortable saying that to Richard Nixon. Let me see. before Ronald Reagan was president of the United States, what job did he used to have? Oh, he was the governor of California. Oh, at a time when the FBI was infiltrating a very famous black organization out there. You think maybe the governor knew what the FBI and COINTELPRO was doing? Huh? And that echoed into the White House. Who was John Ehrlichman? He was the domestic, excuse me, he was the domestic policy chairman for Richard Nixon. John Ehrlichman. This is what he said. He said, the Nixon White House had two enemies, the anti war left and black people. We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities, Ehrlichman said. Excuse me. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, and break up their meetings and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we was lying about the drugs? Of course we did. Ronald Reagan is the one that coined, well, not necessarily coined the term, but definitely made it famous. Welfare queen. The lady in question, he definitely exaggerated the story about the lady and her being a welfare queen and all of this, and talking about the lady was getting $150,000 a year and all of this kind of stuff and getting away with it. All together, I think the lady got 9,000 maybe, and she went to jail. And she went to jail. But the idea of the welfare queen is produced during Ronald Reagan's run up into the presidency, and people kept on talking about welfare reform. They just wouldn't give it up, like um, fighting legal wars, fighting in all these illegal wars, and doing all of this crazy stuff with the budget and everything, running all these deficits. Like somehow, some way, these social nets that they got for society, how that's just weighing down the country. One more time, it was a talking point. The reason Ronald Reagan caved in on Dr. Martin Luther King uh, making it a holiday, the reason why he had to do it was because he had lost so much, uh, popularity with the black community in the welfare queen thing. That's why he made Dr. King's birthday a holiday. You can go and look it up. Propaganda is a weapon, y'all. Look. Images. They are burned into your psyche. They don't say anything, but they will remain there. They speak to both sides of your mind, both sides, your creative side and your logical side. And it stays in your subconscious. Our brain has associative property. We associate old knowledge with new knowledge. If you noticed, I didn't say whether that knowledge was true or false. Your brain just associates it. It don't matter if it's true or false, because your brain operate on an associative property. And those images are burned into our mind. One more time, that welfare queen that Ronald Reagan was talking about was a fictional character. It got into the tax cut that the US economy is finally going to see this year. That's what it was. It was rhetoric. These gentlemen right here, they were young men when Ronald Reagan was saying that. And they brung that same rhetoric from the 80s into the tax debate in 2016 when they was passing it. 2017 when it went into law. Do you see? Your rhetoric is dangerous. Because all you have to do is tell a lie enough times and it becomes the truth. Are we a robot? Are we programmed? And if you are programmed, are you programmed for a reason, for a purpose? Are you a character that's produced in society for a reason? Let's go deeper. This is another thing that we see in the community. It's called confirmation bias. I type it into the chat sometime, and sometimes I just assume that people know what I'm talking about. Confirmation bias, the tendency to process information by looking for or interpreting information that is consistent with one's existing beliefs. This biased approach to decision making is largely unintentional and often results in ignoring inconsistent information. The diagram at the bottom kind of details how confirmation bias happens in one's mind. You hearing the objective facts. You have your so-called facts or confirmed beliefs. And based on those two things, that is what you see. Confirmation bias is a real thing. Like I said earlier, you have to continue to challenge what you think you know against new information. I'm not saying to lay down your standards or what you know to be true. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is your bias should not get into your realm of what you gonna do next. Your emotions should not determine what you gonna do next. That's my issue with a lot of these uh talking heads from a lot of these groups and stuff. Man, bruh, that's confirmation bias, what you be saying. I'm gonna keep moving, but man, I'm telling you, that's what I think a lot of you brothers suffer from. So while we sitting around and we arguing among ourselves about how we should move forward, understand what's going on. Do y'all remember that story in the news? The governor of Virginia being caught in blackface? Y'all remember that? Hey, baby. Hey. Y'all remember that? The Democrats, they was demanding that the governor resign. But that crazy cat picker they got in the White House, right? He called them very fine people on both sides. Look, it's in the political cartoon. The uncomfortable feeling of not being on any moral ground to stand on. Man, I mean, I thought the artist did a great job right here. You know, here go a photo. This is from the 50s. It's not a person right there. This is just basically something that they put on the light pole to disencourage our people to vote. Images. Images. At some point, I could see some people saying, man, it ain't worth it. I ain't about to lose my life to go and punch no ballot. Malcolm's, their brother fighting tooth and nail. It's the ballot of the bullet. But then you got some individuals that decided to not participate because they have to make an individual choice. What's best for me? Do I fight? Do I continue to fight? Is it worth it? Are we fatigued? Is that the question? Is it revolutionary spirit fatigue? Is it? Them two brothers up there, those not scarecrows, them real men. They got convicted of a crime. That was their punishment. Mm. Images. Now, I want you to take a real good look here. This is an image that's doctored, it's photoshopped, it's not real. The reason I put this in here is to make sure that you understand it's some diabolical people out here, y'all, that try to use triggering mechanisms to get certain things talked about that aren't important. That aren't important. We got to stay focused, y'all. We got to stay focused. We have some people on Black YouTube. They talk about black on black crime and they talk about the degradation of the community and, how the community ain't no good and the people in the community ain't no good. And then, you know, all of these things. We got to look at the root causes of those things, and those are the things that we have to attack. You don't go and attack the tree. You repair the root, fam. Repair the root, fam. Repair the root. Sometimes, right? Sometimes you gotta dig up the whole tree and just put it in some better soil. But you don't switch the tree. You didn't save the tree by leaving it there to die. You gotta fix the roots, fam. You see, the culmination, the repeated effect of all of this negative propaganda that we have ingested year after year, month after month, day after day, is dehumanizing. It normalizes our oppression. Every time you have a talking point that agrees with them, you make it justifiable for them to continue business as usual. The psychological war against black folks is not over. Sometimes people think it's over. It's not over. You just not looking at this thing right. You see, sometimes racism is very, very subtle. It's very subtle. And what you would have to do is look at it through your African eyes, through your black first eyes, through your pro-black eyes, through your black community first eyes. Forget everybody for a second. Only try to look at it for what's best for you and yours. And everybody that's associated with the community that you from. Now see where I'm from, we call that fam. That's the fam. See, sometimes it's so subtle, we can overlook it. Hiding it in plain sight. It's a very common tactic. Everybody does it. Some people just don't see anything wrong with the picture. Marriage rates are down across the board, across every ethnicity. But somehow in the advertising, they got the white couple and the single black mother. And we wonder why we constantly saying that single black motherhood is a is the biggest problem facing the black community. Maybe those thoughts are not your thoughts. Maybe you were programmed to believe that. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. It caused Philando Castile. It cost him his life. Alton Sterling. He was perceived a threat. It cost him his life. Let's not forget that. Tamir Rice. It costed him his life. Jon Stewart. See, sometimes these stories, I didn't internalize them. So they real for me. Jon Stewart was in a Walmart where they sell guns. A white woman inside of the Walmart called and said that a black man was walking around the Walmart with the gun. Keep in mind, Ohio is an open carry state. And inside of the Walmart, they sell guns. They killed Jon Stewart in that store. Confirmation bias, perception, social engineering. These might just be words to a lot of people. I tried to give y'all some definitions so that we could all be on the same page in terms of uh, the words that we're using, right? But keep in mind, them same words are used differently outside of our culture. And so we can't be using the same talking points as other people because that's when I get confused. Are you talking for them or are you talking for you? Because you sound like them to me. You know, I tried to throw a little humor in here, you know. I mean, to be honest with you, this shit ain't funny. Any of y'all ever been to traffic court before? Well, here in Chicago, if you ever go to traffic court, this what you gonna see. You gonna you gonna think that niggas we the only ones that run stop signs in this motherfucker, man. Hey, that it make me so mad every time I go to traffic court here in Chicago, cause I know I'ma see the disparity. I had a family member. He had gotten trouble down there in Shelby County, Tennessee, down there in Memphis, right? I'm trying to talk like a country boy. Down there in Memphis in Shelby County. Same thing. You would think that in Shelby County, that Negroes, they the only ones that do crime in Tennessee. The only ones. You mean to tell me them biases don't play out in a judge's mind? Don't play out in a jury's mind? That young man killed 4 people. Vehicular homicide. The other young man, he got 11 and a half years in prison during the Baltimore riots. He destroyed a police car. This young man raped an unconscious girl behind a dumpster. He got 3 months in jail. Michael Vick went to jail for a year and a half in federal prison, went to the feds for fighting dogs. So you can't tell me that systematic racism don't exist no more, and you know, hey, they ain't holding us back and all of that. Hey, you perfect ass nigga. Hey, you ain't never made a mistake in your life ass nigga. Make one, fam. Make one. And then you gonna find out how black your ass really is. We gotta organize. Am I saying that as a, oh man, that's a dispowering statement? Man, our people ain't gonna never overcome. We have to deal with the reality. We need to raise up a generation of Thurgood Marshalls. Go and fight in court. We need to raise up some new educators like Barbara Sizemore and Dr. Bennett and you know what I'm saying? John Hope Franklin. We need to raise up a generation of educators so we can teach them to not be as dumb as some of our people that be out here saying this crazy shit. We need to raise up. Hey, you say our sisters ain't got no morals and values and everything. Man, raise up some Claire Huxtables. Raise them up. Create an atmosphere where we can get some Claire Huxtables in here then. Where we can get some Wheezies in here. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to do. We got to do the work. And so, I'm about to end on this, and I always try to have some takeaways, So here I'm at, right? I'm at the end, you know. How and when are we gonna get it? Understand that this negative propaganda campaign against black folks, it been going on for at least 100 years. And over that 100-year process, we done made some mistakes. We done made some gains, but we still here. And we got to find out what's the next best steps to going forward. Why? That's the next point. Why aren't black people, why we ain't more organized? Is it because we socially engineered to be disorganized? Is that it? To not trust one another? Maybe that propaganda, maybe them perceptions that you have fell victim to, it make you not trust your brother. It make you see the worst in our sisters. Maybe that's what it is. Do black people have a victim consciousness? Oh, woe is me. Oh, look what's happening to me. Please go and take a look at a presentation I did. It's called The Basis for Black Power. I detail a bunch of things that these cockazoids did to us, man. Unforgivable, man. If nothing else, they are the perpetrators of the worst crime in the history of the world. The transatlantic slave trade, to be specific. Last but not least, a takeaway I want us to ponder, to think about. Are we killed by guns, violence, or are we killed by the personality types that come out of all of this negative propaganda? Think about it, right? When I was a shorty, I remember when Menace to Society came out, right? When Boys in the Hood came out, when them movies came out, man, a lot of people lost their lives. A lot of violence at that time. It was the images, I will argue, where brothers vicariously seeing themselves on the screen depicted, but depicted in the worst way. We have to control the narrative of our people. We have to take control. We have to fight that nigga that's on the inside of us every day. Every day. So I'm about to stop sharing my screen. I hope I wasn't just talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? Let me stop sharing. I hope I wasn't just talking to myself, man. I hope I had a couple people listening. I hope I had a couple people listening. But man, I appreciate everybody that came through. Let me shout out the the chat real quick, and then I'm gonna get on up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out the chat real quick, and I'm gonna get on up out of here. Peace and love to Christine Williams. Man, peace, good brother Kenny Conjo, always coming through, always seeing you, bruh. You know, Sugar B Chronicles, peace and love. Peace and love to Poetic Kills, King Wage, peace and love, bruh. To my good brother, always here to support. Speak on this YouTube. The Boy Scout one was creepy. All right, you know. And all right, I had a couple people listening, uh, falling through. Y'all was chopping it up in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Oh, peace and love, sis, Miss Gigi. Man, I am gonna get out there to Oakland this summer, man, and I'm gonna come and wreck shop at the at AM1 thing, man. I'm gonna come in and destroy that mic one good time. Show y'all brother Rob got skills. I can do more than just run my mouth here on YouTube like a thief in the night. Raining woman, peace of love to the Coco Queen. Man, I just gotta say this out loud, man. Raining woman, man. Hey, that is a woman after my own heart. On the real. Yeah, Lisa Moore. Peace and love, fam. I love that you came through to check me out tonight. And truth is I know it. Thank you for coming through. So with that being said, one more time, I appreciate everybody that came through to hear the brothers speak tonight. I had been sitting on that for a minute. I feel like if people took into account what I went over today, what I'm hoping is that you challenge yourself to open your mind to look at this from our perspective, the Black perspective. Looking at it from other people's perspectives will certainly not have you informed on what's best for the community, and we can learn that that is a mistake from what our ancestors have done. This is the principle of Sankofa. It's not just to look back, it's to look back and see, what our people were, what our people still need to become, you know? So with that, man, I appreciate y'all coming, and y'all be looking out for my next one. I'm just trying to get a community what I think it needs. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always be true to myself. I'm always be true to myself. I'm not trying to get anybody to do anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm just simply modeling the behavior that I think that all of our people need to have, and we are all benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? Being our best self. You know, that's for us. That ain't for our enemy. That's for us. You know, because we got to learn how to love one another. So that's the first thing. First thing, man, I can't say I love you and talk to you like you a dog. I can't say I love you and then I just put together any old thing and just get on YouTube and just throw anything together and just throw it in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? If I get in front of y'all, every time I do it, it's gonna be well thought out. I'm gonna be thinking about this for weeks before I put it out here. You know what I'm saying? I know some content creators, man. Some of them they can just shoot from the hip and it sound good. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I can't take nothing from anybody, take anything away from anybody else and how they do their thing. But me, if I'm gonna get in front of you, I want to make sure that you understand. I done put some time and some thought and some effort into what I'm gonna say to you because I respect you. I want you to respect what I'm saying to you. And so that's why I take a great deal of thought and into everything that I say in terms of what I'm gonna present on my channel. So hey, thank y'all for one more time for coming. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, peace out, y'all. All right, later.